What's up, y'all? It's your boy Nick Clark here with another Breaking Bad boxing preview and prediction. This week, we have the undisputed world Super Bantamweight title on the line between my number one pound for pound, Naoya the Monster Inoue, versus challenger Murodjon Akhmadaliev. I'm going to call him MJ the rest of the video, y'all. As we know, I'm bad with names, and I'm surprised I even got that one even a semblance of close. If I got it wrong, let me know in the comments. This fight's pretty interesting. Orthodox versus Southpaw. MJ, in my opinion, is Inoue's toughest opponent of his last 3 or 4 opponents. He hasn't faced someone of this caliber in a while, in my opinion. As we know, Inoue has been fighting a lot of Southpaws lately. In his last 5 fight alone, Topalis, Neri, Dohenny. Kim's listed as an Orthodox fighter, but Kim fought all 4 rounds of those in Southpaw specifically. And as we know, Inoue is undefeated. Well, he's undefeated in general, but he's undefeated with all knockouts versus Southpaws. He's knocked out every single Super Bantamweight he's fought. This could be his last fight at 122 pounds too as well. So I'm curious to see what happens next for him. So that being said, guys, let's get into the X's and O's, into the tape of the challenger, MJ. His fight against Ronnie Rios. He was pulling and countering Ronnie Rios all night, setting traps and making him miss early and often. You see he has some real pop. In round 2, minute and 20 seconds, he stuns Ronnie Rios, kind of sets him off track. MJ gets used to being stuck on the back foot, even though I think he's super talented on the front foot when he's letting his combinations fly. Minimal body puncher, but when he does punch the body, he's super effective. His best punch in this fight was a shovel hook to the body by a country mile. In round 4, it set up an overhand right that stunned Ronnie Rios, but what really set up the overhand right was how hurt Ronnie Rios was to the body. He leaves his base a little bit too often when he throws his straight left hand, does MJ, and he holds his feet on the inside a little bit. He was allowing Ronnie Rios to get the straight right off to the body all night, early and often, and it continued really for all 12 rounds. In rounds 7 and 8, he also allowed Ronnie Rios to close the distance and allow combinations to pop off. MJ, his angles, man, they're super defensively responsible and offensively responsible. He can enter the pocket, like I said, with his hands low, but he always enters at a specific angle that's hard for his opponents to gauge. Solid base all 12 rounds, and he has really good same-side punching. My biggest question for this fight, though, was MJ. His gears, man. What's up with these gears? Why are we in round 9 and you've only hurt Ronnie Rios with the shovel hook to the body one time and you haven't really gone back to that punch? Why are we in round 10? Why is Ronnie Rios coming out with a steam? And why is he coming out and putting it on you for round 10? Why in round 11 have we only seen 3 to 4 pouches of 5 punch combinations by you when at this point you could have gotten Ronnie Rios out of there at any point? You're just playing with your food. Maybe he just wanted the rounds in, but round 12 comes around and you see he needs and wants the finish. And how does he set up the finish? Shovel hook to the body. Could have made it that simple. It was tagging and bothering Ronnie Rios since round 4, and he just completely stayed away from it then. Really made me question his gears. Great finishing sequence by MJ, and I love to see that killer instinct. Killer instinct and gears are not the same thing, y'all. Just remember that. His killer instinct was not lacking at all in this fight. When he wanted the finish, he came out for it. I have a few notes for the Topalis fight, but it is Southpaw versus Southpaw. I have to caveat. As we know, Inoue is an Orthodox fighter, but it's the same opponent. So I have to talk about it a little bit. Round 1, complete fill-out round. MJ was allowing Topalis to enter his house without making him pay whatsoever. Just letting MJ walk in, damage him, and do whatever he wanted. Where the hell did that 118 to 110 scorecard for MJ come from? That had to be the most biased scorecard I've ever heard. One of the most biased scorecards I've ever heard in my life. 7-5, 115 to 113 was the right score for Topalis in this fight. Really thought MJ was lacking in this fight. He was lacking gears, lacking motivation. Really seemed like he was lacking fight IQ, quite frankly. He seemed like he felt he was ahead in these rounds, which he wasn't. Excuse me. He kept shaking out his arms too as well, which made me concerned. Maybe he had an injury or maybe just didn't have a proper warm-up in the back. Round 5 or 6, MJ looked incredible, letting his combinations flow, cutting off the ring, just looked sharp in general. He was super open to the body shot all night, even in the Southpaw versus Southpaw matchup. His overhand right was stunning this fight. He only hurt Topalis once in this fight in round 7. Well, not once, I should say, but early in this fight in round 7, and it was set up with the overhand right followed by a left hook to the body. Pretty beautiful combination and good setup. MJ, in his round 12, he has a habit of coming out in round 12 like a bat out of hell. He was really putting it on Topalis in the round 12, which I really like to see, that it shows his cardio, and his cardio, not necessarily his engine, but his cardio can definitely hold for all 12 rounds. Once again, gears. Gears, gears, gears. He never went through the gears in this Topalis fight whatsoever, and that's the reason he lost. He got stuck on the back foot and allowed Topalis to control the ring. Again, Southpaw versus Southpaw, so I don't want to put too much into it. His fight versus Kevin Gonzalez was also Southpaw versus Southpaw, even though Kevin Gonzalez had moments of switching stances in this fight. We saw some fight-over-fight improvement. We saw MJ start to get his head off a line, where his head was far more stationary in his last few fights that we saw. He was breaking Kevin's timing, resetting him with jabs and foot positions. He was honestly having a hard time keeping Kevin off him. Kevin was like a pit bull, fly on shit, just staying on him, just never stopped punching and never getting off of his front foot. He had really good same side punching. When he dropped Kevin in round 6, it was a left uppercut followed by a left hook to the body. It was absolutely beautiful. The right hand started finding its home once Kevin was hurt and a little bit stunned and phased, but he started throwing his right hand, not really showing it in the first few rounds once he started throwing it after he had a wounded duck, which I really appreciated. This was just a different class of fight, though, man. Like, if we're talking about classes here, MJ is in honors English, and we're talking about 7th grade remedial literature here for Kevin Gonzalez. It wasn't even remotely close in terms of class. Kevin Gonzalez really had no business being in there. So we'll move on to his Espinosa fight. MJ, super low volume round 1. His check left hook was on the money this fight. His check left hook could not miss. He was landing it not only as a counter shot, but as Espinosa was entering. He controlled the ring. Great real estate control, too. Espinosa was coming forward, but he couldn't be pinned down in whatsoever. I felt like neither fighter could pin each other down in this fight, which I will say in terms of the class of Espinosa is something to note when it comes to MJ. He had movement, but he had moments of holding his feet and allowing Espinosa to get off of him. He wasn't necessarily punching off balance and stopping. He wasn't necessarily punching off balance, but he was definitely losing his shoulders over his hips. MJ loves to walk his opponents into traps here. In round 2 with 52 seconds, he turns the corner, literally changes his corner angle and pulls him into a left hook. It's just one of the best traps. If you go and watch this fight, look at round 2, 52 seconds left. One of the best traps you're going to see set in boxing. Maybe not in boxing in general, but the tape study that I watched this time. The beginning of the end, we really saw in round 3 with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. He dips his level, lands a left shovel hook that's followed by a right, and then it's Chris 1-2 that cleans him up, man. This was another levels performance. This was the first time I saw MJ of the tape that I watched and saw, wow, levels performance. Because Espinosa, pretty tough customer. Maybe not the greatest resume, but someone in there that I thought was in there to actually fight. And I thought of the 5 fights that I taped besides Topalis, easily the best fighter that he's faced. Topalis by a country mile, the best fighter he's faced. The only world-class fighter he's faced in this case. At least in the tape study that I did. MJ versus Luis Castillo. He was punching Castillo's jab and meeting him with the straight right, punching right over it, which I incredibly loved. Really efficient and really conservative with his energy. Never pushed himself really to any brink and never punched himself out at any moments. Really didn't throw enough volume to punch himself out at no moments. MJ is not an overly high volume fighter. Castillo was having straight right success to the body, of course, as we know, a open side body, Orthodox versus Southpaw. Man, the few right hands that MJ landed to the body in this fight were just crisp and clean. I just wish he threw them more. MJ is so physical, man. He can be hesitant in moments, but when he decides to bully you around, he really pushes you around and he pushes you into punches. Great straight left at 1 minute and 11 seconds in round number 3. It just kind of showed the class of fighter that Castillo is here. In round 4, Castillo throws 3 sweeping overhands that all miss in succession. And what I mean by the class of fighter he is he shouldn't have been in there with MJ at any moment. It really was one of those things that made me question, why are we going into round 6 and you have someone like Luis Castillo who hasn't fought since 2023. He lost to a dude that's like 16-9-1. He had 0 class and 0 business being in there with you. And for whatever reason, you're letting him hang around to round 6. It just shows me, I mean, he finished him around 8, but he started the finishing sequence around round 6, in my opinion, where it all starts snowballing downhill. But it just shows, again, the issues I have with MJ and his gears. So what do I like about MJ and what would I like to see him improve on, y'all? I know I kind of went on a rant there. I know I had some moments there. So let's just get into it. MJ, I love his shovel hook to the body. I wish he threw it more. It's best punch by a country mile. His strongest punch is his overhand right, but his most efficient punch is easily his shovel hook to the body. Physical as hell, super efficient with his punching volume, clean punching mechanics. He can fight going forward. He can fight going backwards. Great angles offensively, great angles defensively. Great flashes of killer instinct too as well. He has incredible eyes. He's calm. He's collected. 12-round conditioning. Efficient with his tools, but he's a bread and butter fighter, meaning he doesn't have a lot of tools in his arsenal. He counters, he pulls, and he's a trap setter, man. He counters, he pulls, and he's a trap setter. What do I dislike about him? He's super susceptible to the body, especially with the straight right, both against Orthodox and Southpaw fighters. He doesn't really even defend his body. It seems like he's not even really bothered by it. Maybe it's because his torso is that strong, but against Naoya Inoue, you have to defend your body. That's a must. He can get caught with straights through his guard. He's low volume, super efficient, but very low volume. He fights down to his opposition's level. There is no way that he should have allowed Luis Castillo to hang in there for 8 rounds. He could have gotten Ronnie Rios out of there really at any moment after round 4 too as well. He overcommits and overcommits, especially with his left hand, and loses his base. My biggest issue here, y'all. Gears. What's up with this man's gears, man? He's either stuck in first or second, or he goes in 5th for killer mode. Let's talk about the champion Naoya Inoue. And honestly, I'm probably going to have less to say about Naoya Inoue, because what is there to say about Naoya Inoue? We all know how great he is, man. Everyone has talked about him a country mile and a country mile time again. So let's talk about our boy here. Naoya Inoue versus Topalis. And I'm really going to give you guys the Southpaw breakdown. Instantly, we see Naoya control the distance, double left jab, shovel hook to the body himself. He controls the feet. His feet are absolutely incredible. And he has 0 mechanism flaws in his feet when it comes to Southpaws. He absolutely steps on their toes. Inoue, of course, isn't without his flaws in general. He leaps back in straight lines and exits in straight lines, especially with his hands down, and leans over his shoulder, leaving his chin to be for a defense. As we know, when he got dropped against, I'm going to bring it up now, but we'll talk about it for the fight, Neri and Cardenas, he got dropped while exchanging, cutting off angles and dropping his hand from his guard hand. Inoue got caught with a straight left from Topalis when he was stationary, round 1 with 1 minute and 37 seconds left, and a bigger puncher that may have dropped him a little bit later in his career. He sets traps and forces you into traps. In round 2 with 2 minutes and 33 seconds, he threw a 1-2, slightly step off. And as he's stepping off, he throws a left hook that forces Topalis into his own right hook. So he's throwing a 1-2, steps off, boom, bang. It's absolutely incredible, man. Inoue gets me excited, bro. I love that fucking dude. Pause. Great level feints, both his shoulders, his hands. He has the best dip in the game, bro. The way he punches at different levels from below the knee, below the hip, above the chest line. And he punches both to the head and to the body. Best level puncher in the game, man. Not even close. In round 5 of 45 seconds, Topalis overcommits, loses his base, and Inoue meets him with the right hand right down the pipe. He loves to make fighters, when they overcommit and lose their base, he makes them pay. I love how he makes them pay. Inoue had his moments, like I said, of leaping into punches and losing his own base too as well. So he's not without his own flaws. It seemed like, I don't love how in round 7 and 8 that he really took his foot off the gas and really just allowed Topalis to have moments. Halfway through round 9, Inoue got off some piss missiles, really beginning of the end here. He was Terminator-like in round 10, detonated the right hand and finished off Topalis. When he goes into killer mode, man, he's really in killer mode. Let's go talk about his Luis Neri fight. Everybody knows this fight for the first time that he's ever got dropped. Another southpaw with Luis Neri. I think Luis Neri may be the biggest puncher he's faced of all the fighters I've taped. Luis Neri has that snapping, whipping power, and he has a lot of knockouts on his record, mate. Round 1, not much happened up until 1 minute and 23 seconds. Minute and 23 seconds here. Their feet tie up. Inoue throws a cheeky uppercut on the break, and he gets clipped with a huge left hook by Neri and dropped. He didn't really seem overly hurt or buzzed, but definitely dropped and kind of seemed like, oh shit, I got dropped in the moment. In round 1 with 35 seconds, I posted this clip on Twitter, y'all. You have to go see this. He shows the sickest moments of 3 different levels of defensive to offensive fighting. He backs himself into a neutral corner in round 1 with 35 seconds left. The first level, he catches a right hand to the body from Neri and shoots with his own right hand. As they reset, it's literally all in one sequence, so there's no real reset, but this is essentially you go, I go, you go. So in the first sequence, catches Neri's body shot and returns his own right hand. In the second, he pulls and counters with an uppercut. And in the third, he punches with Neri, landing him hook for hook. It was just insane, man. it was just 3 separate levels of defense to offense that we saw in the same exact clip in a neutral corner. If you have a chance to go check it out versus Neri, it's round 1, 35 seconds. It's absolutely beautiful work. He was covering so much ground on Neri, especially with the right hand. By round 3, it really just felt like he was continuously walking Neri into the right hand, setting up the traps. Inoue's jab has absolutely zero fat. He's springing light on his feet. He loves to egg his opponents on, a true showman, tapping his chin, egging him on, stopping on dimes, throwing straight right hands, following up with left hooks to the body. Again, man, I think he's the best levels puncher in the game, dipping into his chip, punching both to the body and to the head, punching at all 3 levels too as well. He can fight on the inside. He can fight on the outside. He can fight at mid-range. He chambers his punches so well and uses kinetic chain. Right, left flow. I don't see a lot of same side punching from Inoue, but when we do see it, it is effective. When he had Neri's back against the ropes, man, it was hell over high water at that point. He was just teeing off on him. And the way he dropped in the first time when they were head to head, he literally left hook, rolled his head underwater, left hook, and rolled it again. Right uppercut to the right hook finish. And one thing we also have to talk about with Naoya Inoue is his zebra fight kit, man. His zebra fight kit was just absolutely badass in this fight. I absolutely loved it. Inoue versus TJ, another southpaw. Fight started off slow. This is the first fight I want to say that I think we may have either seen Inoue one of 2 things. Maybe not respect TJ Dohenny, or maybe we saw that he is just shades past his prime. And let me explain why I think that. He allowed Dohenny to counter him in moments, and he didn't respect Dohenny's power, and he walked himself into a few punches. Very few, but he definitely allowed it in moments. He was corralling Dohenny the whole fight in the corners, and he was letting off, but he wasn't letting off very sharp and crisp combinations that we're used to. It wasn't until round 6 that we saw a true massacre and blunder of body punches where he was stepping his foot on the gas and wasn't letting him off the ropes. Maybe he wanted some rounds in this fight, but TJ Dohenny is someone that he could have gotten out of there in 4 rounds. I'm surprised that he even let him stick around for 7 rounds. He was setting up the overhand right with straights to the body. And that's really all the notes I have for this fight, man. Really wasn't much to take away from this one. Again, it really seemed like Inoue was really switched off until he decided to switch it on in the 6th round. So Inoue versus Kim. Kim's listed an Orthodox fighter on BoxRec, but Kim came out and fought this whole fight in Southpaw. Kim also had a sick fight kit too as well. Inoue's stop and start in this fight was absolutely insane, man. I think that's one of his better mechanisms that may not be talked about enough. His combination punching, his body punching, and his power, but his stop and start, man. Athletic as hell, can stop on a dime. Not much happened in round 1, but in round 2, it started to jump off, man. He started to set up everything with a straight right hand to the body. He was fighting between Kim's jab, trapping him and holding his back against the ropes. Inoue's gauge of distance in this fight was absolutely incredible. He was always in range to punch, but never in too much range to get punched. Kim caught Inoue with the straight left hand when he was showboating in round 2 with 25 seconds left, and it made me think, if a heavier puncher, maybe like MJ with the right hand landed that when he was showboating, how would that have affected him? But the one thing is he downloaded that data, and the next time Kim threw that straight right hand, Inoue landed over top with his own straight right hand and made him pay. I love that, man, Inoue, man. He allowed Kim to punch in combination through his guard in round 3, but after that, it seemed like it kind of just hyped him up. Every time Kim circled off to the right, Inoue made him pay. He never allowed Kim to circle off to the right without making him pay. Shovel hooks to the body, check hooks to the body, sweeping hooks to the face. Kim overcommitted with a sweeping left, and Inoue made him pay when he walked over his own base. Finishing sequence was Kim literally egging him on, circles out right, gets hit with a sweeping left, and then a bang, 1-2 down the pipe, just drops him, face plants him. It was absolute money, man. So Roman Cardenas too, as well. When he got caught with Roman Cardenas, man, that was a real knockout. That was one that he was actually hurt. He did the smart thing. He stayed on his knees, man, and it seemed to wake him up against Roman Cardenas because Roman Cardenas caught him with that snappy ass hook, man. It was nice to say the least. I'm not going to talk about the Roman Cardenas tape because it is a Orthodox versus Orthodox fight. We're talking about Orthodox versus Southpaw matchup here, and I think we have enough tape to download the data. What do I like about Inoue? Really, what can I say that anyone hasn't said? So I'm going to keep it very short and sweet. Great feet and balance, incredible killer instinct. His power is A1, top tier, pound for pound. His hips, his hands, his feints, best levels puncher in the game, period. What do I think he can improve on? Who am I to tell him pound for pound number 1 to improve on anything? But here are my simple thoughts. He drops his guard when he could be inside the fire, hence why he got dropped by Roma Cardenas and Neri. I think he switches off at moments and he could showboat, which definitely could lead to moments of him probably getting popped and hurt. And by the southpaw left hand, he's definitely hittable. And he's clearly best on the front foot. He's not horrible on the back foot. He's actually pretty damn good on the back foot, but it's best to see Inoue on the front foot. So let's get into how I see this fight going, how I think MJ could win, how I think Inoue could win, so on and so forth here. So one part of my brain thinks MJ could fight this whole fight on the back foot, fighting to survive, never really turning on the gears whatsoever, and trying to pull Inoue into traps, which I don't think is the way to beat Inoue, because Inoue eventually is going to corral you against the rope, especially someone like MJ who does stop his feet. He's going to get corralled against the ropes at some point, and he's going to start getting teed off on. And the one thing is Inoue sets up everything with the straight right to the body. MJ, doesn't matter if you're a southpaw or orthodox, has a susceptibility to the body because he refuses to block it. MJ also enters the pocket with his hands down. He's super defensively responsible, and he has a really good guard. But I don't know. My question is does Inoue win this fight by decision, or does he win this fight by knockout 7-12? That's really what my question comes down to. One half of my brain says Inoue could possibly have overtrained this fight. MJ could have the great game plan because they've been looking ahead of him for a while. And that MJ is dog tough. He's sturdy as shit. He's super physical, and he'll be the most physical 122-pounder that Inoue has fought. The other half of my brain says MJ has been in there with nobody like Inoue. And what I mean by that is he's been in there with, in his last two fights, 2 southpaws, 3 orthodox fighters. 2 of those 3 orthodox fighters had no business even being in there with him. They were outgunned and outclassed at all manners, and they were still getting off shots on MJ. They were still getting off the straight right hand, the body shots, some overhand rights, some sweeping shots. That part of me thinks that it's only a matter of time before Inoue corrals MJ in the corner long enough, holds the ring, and he's landed enough damaging shots to the body, and that MJ holds his feet, and it's just going to open up something for Inoue to smack him with. So my final preview and prediction for this fight is going to be Naoya, the monster Inoue, and still round 7-12 knockout. I'm going to take Naoya Inoue round 7-12 knockout. He is going to finish at the 122-pound division, all stoppages at the Super Bantamweight division. He's going to stop every single southpaw he's faced. It's going to be 9-0 versus southpaws, 9 knockouts. Give me Naoya the monster Inoue round 7-12 knockout. Y'all, like, share, comment, subscribe. You know, if I've ever made you some money, my cash app's below. Feel free to drop me a little bit of love. With that being said, y'all, love, peace, chicken, grease. See y'all in the next time.